Rahangmetan, all the way from Netherlands. He's the co-founder of Circle of Sustainable Europe. Thank you for being here, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can do this from my home. So yes, COVID has added some inconveniences, but in the big picture, it provided a lot of for us. The concept of corporation, they're all thinking this could be used for a long-term solution.
I guess my question is this: what is that one piece of practical advice that you would give in respect to business leadership, such as ethical leadership?
When you have to. That's my advice practically. We have grown a palate of fine cuisine, and we panic when we no longer have access to the conveniences of first world countries. In my travels abroad, I've seen a lot of hardship, and I've experienced hardship growing up in poverty myself. The sustainability factor is being ahead of the game. To have the ability to, as a leader, to not only lead people to the water, but to convince them to drink.
Right.
That's a real big cop-out for most of us leaders is, well, I can only lead them to the water, but I can't force them to drink. I imagine most of you guys have heard that phrase before. So figuring out how to convince the population, or your subjects, if you would, on the factors of eating Spam when necessary and being happy with it. Because what it really boils down to at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, is being content with what we have, right? COVID hasn't affected me at all. It's affected our operation because of our donor base. Our donors are holding on to their money a lot tighter, and those stakeholders are trying to take care of themselves. But we train our organization, and I train people for survival and surviving situations, pandemics, disasters, crises, just surviving out if you're lost. Again, it boils back down to being able to manage. People call it mental fortitude. I like to call it spiritual fortitude. Having a positive spirit. Yeah, that's it, man. I don't get long-winded. I try just to trim down the fat and just give facts based on my experiences. And again, I live on a farm. It's convenient for me to grow my own foods. I live pretty sustainably. There's a lot of different programs out there to where, you know, you can learn how to live and survive in the urban areas off of minimum supplies. But if you're wasting food, if you don't consume all your food on your plate, or if you're if you're obese, I'm just again, in my opinion, then you can probably learn a thing or two about necessities and being convenient. We have the human condition is based on, we're just flawed, right? We're just flawed, and I am bad, and I have a problem with trying to decide what is a need and what is a want.
Right.
So it's important. This conversation is necessary. It's a need in our country, where there is hate being fought with hate, and the political agendas won't be set aside for the greater good of our country. It's almost sickening to a lot of us patriots, because we see that if we were able to just set our opinions aside, or our differences, and focus on our commonality. Our commonality is this: that we're the greatest nation in the world, and that we have the ability to come to people's rescues at any given moment. And that's important, because we have saved billions of lives from poverty, from desolation, from COVID-19. And the fact of the matter is that we're tearing ourselves apart from the inside out, because we're focused on our differences rather than our similarities.
Or solutions.
Yes. Yeah, we're all problem driven, right? Well, here's a problem. And when I'm leading people and they say, hey, man, there's a problem. Well, until you come to me with a solution, I don't really want to hear the problem. And that's not me being callous. That's just me stimulating their ability to think through the problem.
Is it almost like a parenting as well? First of all, you don't take sides, and you want to hear both problems first, as a good problem solver and listener as well. I mean, you have to have those kind of traits, right?
Absolutely.
You cannot just one-sided, right? You gotta have to. And you're right. You know, you bring me solution, I'll listen to you.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely important to be unbiased and be able to hear both sides, and then to discern. I base my morality on biblical principles. That's what I base my morality on, and my ethical behavior. You know, there's some crazy stuff that happened in the Old Testament. I make sure that I don't go out and start slaying people, because like old Samson did in the Bible. I make sure that I'm able to balance the both of them, and just love.
Right. I want to go back. I want to go to another panelist for their insights here. Sir Mohammed, thank you so much, first of all. Burke, thank you so much for this insight. But let me go back here before I lose him. What are the insights on this area because you're out there in Detroit, right? Mohammed?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Right. and you have a lot of employees out there in the field. How has this impacted to your, let's say, leadership and also productivity with your employees?
I have to tell you, state of Michigan is a leader when it comes to safety and security of the people and care about people first. Our governor is doing, again, this is not a political statement. I'm just saying that the care for the employees has been top priority. And I am just absolutely so proud to say that to answer your question, Nikki, is productivity is higher than it was before, if you can believe that, because people are not driving to the job site. They are saving. I had this conversation with you, Nikki, that basically there are a lot of savings in terms of time, because our time, I used to travel at least 2 hours each way to get to my job site, and now I can do this from my home. So yes, COVID has added some inconveniences, but in the big picture, it provided a lot of, for us, the concept of sustainability is so beautiful because it's thinking outside the box. What we thought was impossible, it is possible. It is, we're thinking outside the box, just like what Dr. Burke said. We need to come up with solutions rather than creating problems. There are a lot of course, COVID is bad, and we're going to address it and deal with the health aspects of it. But in terms of the opportunities that it created for all of us is enormous. And I can go on and on and on, but I'll pause and just come back to you and say we are doing well when it comes to keeping our projects on time, on schedule, and delivering the services that we promise to the citizens and the people we work with.
Let me ask you this. How do you feel that people are starting to talk about second wave, business disinfecting play a role in this, right? So it's becoming a norm or standard now. Is that something that part of our business work ethics, you think, in the long term?
I'm glad you asked that question. I don't know about the answer to that question, but I'm sure it's being thought of, because again, the concept of telecommuting was not a concept that is in our culture, but now it's being thought of as an option because it created an opportunity. It's just like the concept of the environment, what we think of when we build a building and we don't think about all the option for sustainability. We would be missed if we don't think about it, because when we think it's extra and it costs more, or we don't know if the employees are going to perform their jobs, the proof is in the pudding. People are working harder and performing better under the circumstances from a telecommuting concept. So, I mean, you look at these big corporations, they're all thinking this could be used for a long-term solution. So I am really excited about the opportunities that is given us to do something that before we thought it was impossible.
So COVID has opened up those opportunities that we never thought before. I mean, we never really thought about this before, right? I mean, gone through it.
That's exactly right.
Right. I want to pass the baton to. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for that.
My pleasure.
Let's continue passing that baton in regards to the COVID impact and sustainability. How is it going on? What's going on right now in your region, in Netherlands?
Yes.
How are they responding to this?
Yes, exactly. So 2 years ago, my region, Nijmegen, was the green capital of Europe, 2018. Each year there's a green capital in each state, each member state. They select one. And today, nowadays, like Mr. Burke also said, there's also a lot of opportunities working digitally, remotely from laptop, via Zoom, via video call. So for me, personally, it doesn't affect me at all. But if I look at the surroundings behind me, my families, my friends, they really get struck by this pandemic. And it's really sad to see. But when I think of the word recovery, I think about young people taking leadership, getting educated on the subjects, getting educated on sustainability, SDGs, the possibilities of local engagement, networking with businesses, governments, and society. How can I strengthen my community instead of protesting against the government? First, we need to see what are the opportunities that we have. And from there on, as a young leader, as a young student, network with different policymakers, experts from a local perspective, and then go into action with a certain project or networking event, and just have a dialogue on this issue instead of protesting against governments and stuff like this. Because I think also Mr. Burke also said, like, you can't fight hate with hate. You have to fight it with a different kind of mindset. It's all a mindset, actually. If you think about it, a lifestyle, a behavior change of a person, but also on society in general. And that's what I noticed as well in my country, in the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands, which also has been announced, the European Green Deal last year in December 2019 by Frans Timmermans. He is the vice chairman of the European Commission. And he announced his Green Deal, and he sees opportunities right now because everything is in a state of, you could say, chaos, to rebuild something more sustainable on the basis of this pandemic. And what you see right now in the Netherlands a lot is they are really investing in digital solutions. So they really want to gather data from certain regions to then have an overview of certain problems that are facing. And with that data, they can implement certain solutions more efficiently instead of just doing it by, finger in the air and just guessing where the solution should be. So you see a lot of digital innovation in the Netherlands, but at the same time, it's hard to adapt for people to these circumstances. So there's like a plus and a minus to this pandemic.
So we're flexible with a lot of different new approaches, right? I mean, we should be. We should be.
Exactly. Yes. Resilience.
Times like crisis like this, I mean, we have no other choice than trying to be flexible, trying to be open-minded, with all solutions, possible solutions, approaches.
Yes.
Now, what I was going to ask you, that education for me personally is very, very important for the young next generation. And your business, what you're doing in Netherlands is really with the education, the youth programs, right?
Yes, exactly.
Have you been transitioning or adapting to what's going on right now to move forward to sustainability more so?
Yes.
My question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So what I noticed with especially young people, as you mentioned, they don't really know what the projects are, what kind of initiatives there are there, what organizations that are helping sustainability moving forward. They don't know about these tools. So what I do, I have like an overview, give them a certain package of this is what we have locally in the community that you can be engaged in. So I give them the key, but the door they should walk in themselves. That's the big thing. The young people need to get to the door, and then the key, they can open the door for themselves to be more sustainable themselves, or to give their expertise to those sustainability practices. So yeah, young people should really you can give them more opportunities, but you can also balance that with personal development. If you can balance them both, like the internal drive, ambition, but also the external opportunities that they can be given to express their knowledge and their solutions as well.
How is the school system right now going on? I mean, are they so close? Or, I mean, are they reopening? Does that affect you to your region at all?
They're actually in Microsoft Teams is a really popular word right now across the schools. So they're working a lot with Microsoft Teams now. Like there's no need for, like here in the Netherlands, you have like 1.5 meter distance, like social distancing we have, and you have to wear a mask at certain specific places. So it's not that you have to wear a mask like every single time, but at certain specific places you have to wear a mask. You can imagine for a young person in this the heat with a mask, it's pretty, many young people, yes, many young people don't even listen. They think like, oh, these are just rules by the government, we don't listen, which I can understand, but it's a different way of doing your work via laptop, via Zoom. You can just express yourself in a better way. So Microsoft Teams is a golden term here right now in the Netherlands at the education part.
In your personal opinion, though, I know I asked this to many people that I've come across. How long will this last? Just in your personal opinion.
Yes.
The social distancing and wearing the face mask.
Yes. I think
until
will
the
be.
vaccines arrive, or longer than that. I mean, how are you feeling about that?
I think it will last maybe around 2 months, 2-3 months here in the Netherlands, that we still have these rules. Because yesterday, actually, the Prime Minister announced that he addressed young people to abide to the rules on live television. Mark Rutte from the Netherlands. So I think it will be like 2 to 3 months. We still need to have these rules and social distancing, and especially I believe that this is not going to be the last pandemic. I think there's multiple coming. So yeah, I think we should prepare ourselves for that as well.
Right. Thank you for that insight. Thank you for that
Thank
insight.
you.
I'm calling Frank Kelly if he is out here. Thank you, Ramon. Take a run because I still have questions. We're gonna post them on the screen. All right. Frank Kelly, are you there? Dr. Sala? Can we
Yes,
see you?
I can hear you. Yes. How are you? I'm sorry for being late.
Oh, we're okay.
I pushed it.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you,
So
Doctor.
I see your question here. How
Yes.
many of you have disaster kits? This is because those virus of COVID-19 does replicates in the mouth and the salivary glands. So that's actually the entry site. And then if your immune system is not strong enough, it progresses into the lung and causes the COVID-19 complication and death. So if you have the immune strong enough to battle the virus and preventing it from progressing, then you will become an asymptomatic. But if the virus is replicating and is causing some impact on your bodies and it's inducing inflammation, so you start having this mild to moderate condition where you have cough and a little bit of fever and muscle pain. But if it goes all the way to the lung, it leads to pneumonia and cytokine storm. So it's all about how your immune system is fighting it, and that manifests into those different stages of clinical stages of the disease. But this kits will definitely help to decrease the viral load and allow your immune system to battle the virus and preventing it from progressing and become clinical manifested. So yes, we have that kit ready. It's a kit that contains methylene blue mouthwash, a light device, and also the supplements that we recommend to boost the immune system, which is zinc and curcumin and quercetin and melatonin. It included inside the kit. So we do recommend it. And if you want to play the video that I shared in the text, that shows, just give you a better understanding of the plan that we think it will help to mitigate this disaster. We can play it together, watch it, and then we may come up with some questions and answers about all the team here to discuss the business side of it, or how we can sustain COVID-19 and what other plans that can be put together to mitigate COVID-19 in different aspects of it, whether it is socially, economically, or politically.
Dr. Sala, would you mind write on the text on the chat box the sources that you just mentioned about the kits, please?
Yeah, so it's a compounding pharmacist. I would recommend you to call his cell phone number directly. His Amex Pharmacy, and pharmacist who is working with us, his name is Dr. Mike Beamer, and the phone number is 321-301.
Would you mind writing it down on the chat box, Dr. Sala?
Yeah, I will go ahead and text it. Yes. Meanwhile, if you want to play the video that I put it in the chat,
okay.
We can watch it for it's only 5 minutes, and then we can come up with some answering questions.
Yeah, I also post, you guys, those questions earlier when Dr. Sala, at the beginning of December. Sorry, how
I did not hear you. Did you say something? It was cutting up.
Oh, yeah, I am sharing with you I'm sharing with you because we asked you these questions earlier and you weren't arrived yet. So I'm sharing on the screen ways to protect yourself, basically, from COVID. Are you there?
Yes. It's part of protection. Yeah, social distancing, wearing the mask, especially covering the mouth. Now, whether is it practically to cover your nose for a long period of time? There's a lot of people having a hard time covering their nose because they may have some underlying disease, especially cardiovascular. But at least the mouth needs to be covered indoor. You don't cover it outdoor. If you're outdoor, don't wear the mask. It's a waste of time. But if you definitely with keeping your social distancing, even outdoor. But indoor, wearing the mask is critical. Especially covering the mouth, because if you see Dr. Fauci when he was talking about the droplets, and he's showing them the clouds on the image. There's a good video of that. When somebody sneezes, it shows all the droplets really comes out from the mouth, not from the nose. So covering the mouth is very important for indoor. Washing your hands, all this hygienic protocol is very important.
And number two,
Frank Kelly, are you there?
I'm still here. I think the key is to follow the guidelines. The key thing is to know what are some of the executive orders by that governor of that state, because I mean obviously there's CDC, the requirements are like that you need to follow, but also each state has its own requirements and regulations, because I want to be abiding citizen if I am going to be working in that environment, just to make sure I'm not, all the things that you showed, Nikki, that you have to follow. Obviously you need to follow, but in addition, there might be certain restrictions. Like for us in the state of Michigan, we're still under work at home, so we're not able to work in the field per se unless we're essential workers or there are some exceptions. So again, I need to figure out what do I need to do in the Florida to make sure. Florida is being hit hard right now, and there are a lot of cases. So I have to really pay closer attention to be careful about what is going on and make sure that I practice all the safety requirements and make sure that I am protected and protecting others.
That's help. So follow your state jurisdiction and obviously all of these things, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's hurricane season. I think this is a great question. I think he's very concerned about it, and I think it's beyond anything. I mean, we got double wham. He's getting double wham. I mean, anybody right now, geographically located, everybody's getting their own part share. Share of Mother Nature, I guess, natural disasters. Okay, here's the next question. In India, what is the best resource for our business in India, where most resources may not be available to sustain our business?
First thing, like families should do, they should manage to get their finance in check, because I saw one of the questions was how can families and businesses, how can they sustain themselves? That was the question. Right. Something like that. And I think that the first thing they should do is to get their finances in check, like I said, really looking at their financials to see what is going out, what is coming in, and how do we manage to be sustainable in that regard. So the numbers are really important. I think the second thing is important, that that you learn to research your industry, so the field that you're working on. So let's say a farmer doesn't know really much about the policy from the government at his level. He should really know some basic knowledge on those specific subjects, so he knows what is changing, which is really important. And I think gathering data from a local perspective on a community in their industry is also really important. I think in terms, if you're speaking on India, I think the country is growing. I know that really, really growing. It has almost the most population from all the continents together. So I think in terms of India is still growing digitally as well. So I think it's the same principles that I just mentioned. Really get an overview of what financials coming in, gathering data, resources to make strategic decisions.
I don't know. I'm sorry for that. I had difficulties with the link. I'm not sure what happened, but here I am. Here's what I got to say about COVID. First and foremost, I wasn't around in 1918 when the Spanish flu came, and we had the Great Depression. But I will say that it took 60 months to do the destruction of our economy, where we did it with COVID in 4 months. So
Okay.
that's a big ticket. That's a lot of people unemployed. So this is a massive event, and it isn't going to go away. A lot of people think it is. Look, I'm a researcher. I research the heck out of everything. I told you, articles and stuff. So here's what the medical community says. This is not going to go away, because everybody has got vaccines on hyperspeed. And when you put vaccines on hyperspeed, the average length of time to have a very effective vaccine for this type of disease is 4 years. So they're putting tons of money among the people that do it. They couldn't possibly manufacture this stuff. They don't even have the capability to do it. Plus, they have to develop it. So here's the thing. Whatever they develop isn't necessarily going to be the answer. It probably will not be a cure. It'll probably reduce the chances of you getting COVID by some percentage point, which they don't really know. I mean, their medical experts are very honest about that. So here's the thing. COVID is going to be around in 2021. Most of the medical experts say most of the year. This is a different type of pandemic, because normally colder months is where they occur. This thing exists in cold weather, in mild weather, in hot weather. So nothing kills this little sucker. They took the emotional intelligence test that I think he's still attached to his book, if I'm not mistaken. And what they did is they took the test, and then what they did is ask the people they directly reported to, not knowing the answer of what they did on the test, where do you rank this person?
Right. I think this is great, Frank. We really would like to continue this kind of conversation, obviously, because we're having series 2. And just FYI, you guys, on the screen, interject a little bit here. There is a what's next, okay, and then you guys can use the same link to jump in the conversation again. Continue the conversation. This is very insightful, very educational. Series 2, Series 3 is next Friday. August 14 and August 21 at the same time, 11 a.m. Frank, I really appreciate that. We really wish that we can continue talking about leadership. Is very crucial right now. We do need ethical leadership these days. Dr. Salah, thank you so very much. If you're still here, thank you so much, Doctor. If you can join us next Friday. Next Friday. Yeah, the next 2 Fridays, we're going to do the series 2, series 3. Basically continue our conversations, and we're going to collect more questions as well from the audiences. So thank you to all of our panelists. Dr. Salah, thank you so much, sir. And then Dr. Burke, he's gone already for another meeting. Ramon, thank you so much for Netherlands. Now you can
Thank
go
you.
back.
Great, thank you very much. Take care, everybody.
Sharp guy.
Take care.
Mohammed, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And hopefully you're enjoying the weather in Detroit. And also, of course, Frank, thank you. Enjoy the weather in Texas. I used to go
Yeah,
out there.
I apologize for late. I tried everything to get on. I don't know what was going on.
No worries. We're going to put you the first next time. How about that? The next series you
Yeah,
can
walk me through it.
Great. It's okay. Love to have you back again. And
Okay.
attendees, thank you so much. Those of you who are still joining us right now, thank you for hanging on with me, with us, with all of us here. Very insightful. We hope to continue this insightful educational conversation soon. And there is a screen that's already on right now. You guys need, want to sign up, use the same link. And thank you all for the great panel today, for your time and expertise. All right, until next time, stay safe, stay vigilant. We're all in this together. God bless. Selamat.
Yes.
Thank you, Nick.
Selamat. Bye.
Okay, guys, thank you. Happy Friday. Okay, see you soon. Take care of each other.
Okay.
Bye.